Welcome back to Silver Screen Talks. One bad decision can change your life forever. In Unhinged, a simple honk on the road ignites a deadly pursuit as Russell Crowe's character spirals into uncontrollable rage. What begins as an ordinary morning commute turns into a relentless nightmare. How far can one man's fury go? Stick around as we dive into the pulse-pounding events that turn a simple mistake into a fight for survival. New to the channel? Hit that subscribe button. We bring you amazing movies with detailed explanation which you won't want to miss out. At the beginning of the movie, we see a man named Tom Cooper. It's around 4 a.m., and Tom is sitting in his car outside someone's house, clearly distressed. He takes some medication. Then Tom gets out of his car, grabs a hammer and a gasoline canister from the trunk, and walks toward the house. He starts breaking down the front door with the hammer. The couple living inside is alerted by the noise and rushes to check, but Tom kills them. Afterward, he sets the house on fire and drives away. In the next scene, we see Rachel, who is woken up by a call from Andy. Andy is Rachel's lawyer and also a friend. He informs Rachel that her ex-husband has filed an appeal in court to take back his house. Andy tells Rachel that he will object in court, but Rachel needs to give him approval first. He then asks her to meet to discuss the details further. Rachel has a son named Kyle. She also lives with her brother Fred and his girlfriend, Mary. Rachel heads out in her old car to drop Kyle off at school. While they're on their way, Rachel gets a call from her ex-husband, Richard. Kyle asks his dad about the game tickets. Richard apologizes to Kyle, saying he's been very busy with work and had to leave town. He promises that once his work is done, they'll go to the game together. Richard tries to talk to Rachel, but because Kyle is with her, she tells him to speak later. As Rachel remains stuck in traffic, she gets a call from Deborah. Deborah informs Rachel that she's being fired for not meeting with a client on time. Rachel is deeply upset after losing her job. Rachel finally manages to get through the traffic, but up ahead she spots a truck at a traffic light that isn't moving even though the light has turned green. Frustrated, Rachel starts honking loudly at the truck driver, but he doesn't react. Angry, Rachel honks again and speeds past the truck. A little while later, Rachel has to stop again due to more traffic. Suddenly, the same truck pulls up beside her, and we see that the driver is none other than Tom. Tom tells Rachel that he didn't hear her car horn because he's been dealing with a lot lately, and his mind was elsewhere. He apologizes to her. Then, Tom says that Rachel made a mistake too, because instead of honking in a friendly way to get his attention, she honked loudly and obnoxiously, so she should apologize to him as well. Rachel refuses, saying she won't apologize because Tom was the one who didn't move despite the green light. Tom replies that he didn't really do anything wrong either, but he still apologized. Then with a growing anger, Tom says, "You have no idea what a bad day looks like, but you're about to find out." Rachel quickly drives off, but Tom starts following her and cuts off her car by stopping his truck in front of her. Terrified, Rachel watches as Tom moves ahead, and then she quickly turns her car down a different street and drives away. Rachel drops Kyle off at school and then calls Andy to tell him everything that happened. Andy suggests they meet for lunch. Afterward, Rachel goes to a gas station to refuel. While filling up, she accidentally leaves her phone in the car. After getting gas, she heads into the store to pick up a few things. That's when she spots Tom in his truck behind her car, and she starts to panic. The store clerk notices Rachel is anxious and asks her what's wrong. After hearing the full story, the clerk suggests calling the police. However, a man named Leo, who's also there, advises against it, saying that calling the police might just aggravate Tom further. Instead, Leo offers to walk Rachel out and take down Tom's license plate number in case they need to report it later. Rachel and Leo go outside, and Leo notes down Tom's plate number, telling Rachel what it is. Rachel gets into her car and begins to drive away. As Leo confronts Tom, telling him that he's taken down the plate number, Tom becomes enraged and runs Leo over with his truck. Seeing this, Rachel is terrified and speeds away in her car. Tom starts chasing her again. Desperate, Rachel searches for her phone in the car but can't find it. Tom pulls up alongside her and shows her that he now has her phone. After this, Tom drives off, leaving Rachel in shock. Meanwhile, we see Andy waiting for Rachel at a restaurant. Tom arrives and introduces himself as Rachel's friend. Andy, a bit suspicious, asks Tom if they've met before, to which Tom replies that he just recently came to town. Tom then tells Andy that Rachel has been really upset today, probably because of her divorce. At this point, Andy mentions Rachel's road rage incident and asks Tom when he last spoke with her. Tom says, about 10 minutes ago, and uses Andy's phone to call the number of the phone Tom left behind in Rachel's car. Rachel hears her phone ringing in the car and answers, finding Andy on the other end. Andy tells her he's at the restaurant with her friend Tom, waiting for her. Rachel immediately says that she doesn't have a friend named Tom. Andy describes Tom's appearance, and Rachel realizes it's the same man from the truck. She quickly tries to warn Andy, but Tom grabs the phone and hears everything. Rachel asks Tom, "What do you want from me?" Tom replies that he wants her to know what a bad day really feels like and how to apologize from the heart. As he speaks, Andy demands his phone back, but Tom, in a fit of rage, smashes a coffee mug into Andy's face. Then Tom slams Andy's head against the table. Everyone in the restaurant is shocked and horrified. Rachel, still on the call, hears everything and desperately tries to speak to Andy. Tom then asks Rachel if she's having an affair with Andy. Rachel denies it, but Tom continues, saying that lawyers like Andy ruin innocent people and happy marriages just for money. He tells Rachel how much he despises people like Andy. Then Tom kills Andy. Rachel, now frantic, begs Tom to let her speak to Andy, calling out his name, but Tom coldly says, "He can't hear you anymore because I killed him." Rachel apologizes to Tom, but he replies, "You're still not apologizing from the heart." Then Tom hangs up the call and leaves. After a while, Tom calls Rachel and reveals that he has learned about her son Kyle, her ex-husband Richard, and her mother through Rachel's phone. Tom ominously states that someone will have to pay. Rachel begs Tom not to do anything. He insists that she needs to give him one name of someone who should die. Desperate and scared, Rachel pleads with him again, but Tom warns her that if she doesn't provide a name, he'll pick someone from her contact list. Under pressure, Rachel reluctantly says Deborah's name. When Tom asks why, Rachel explains that Deborah fired her. She tells Tom that she has given him a name as he requested and pleads with him not to harm her son or any family member. Tom replies that, for now, he won't hurt them, but anything could happen in the future, and with that, he hangs up. Rachel is extremely distressed and gathers her courage to call 911, explaining everything. Shortly afterward, a police team arrives to ensure Deborah's safety. In the next scene, we see Rachel's brother, Fred, watching the news about Andy and Tom on TV. Suddenly, he hears some noises outside. As Fred goes to investigate, he spots Tom's truck parked outside his house. Panic sets in, and he grabs a knife before heading back inside. Just then, Tom comes into view, holding Mary, whom he has severely injured. Fred begs Tom for Mary's life, but Tom replies that Rachel is to blame for all of this. Then he pushes Mary toward Fred, and with the knife Fred is holding, Tom brutally kills her. Meanwhile, Rachel arrives at Kyle's school. As she parks her car, she receives a message from Tom, revealing that he has taken Fred hostage. Tom then calls Rachel. She asks him why, after giving him Deborah's name, he would take her brother hostage. Tom says that just like she surprised him by calling the police, he's giving her a surprise in return. He instructs Rachel to go inside the school, get Kyle, and call him, warning her to get away from the school as quickly as possible. He ominously adds that she has only 3 minutes, or Fred will be killed. Meanwhile, Tom ties Fred to a chair and instructs him to write a letter to his sister. Tom tells Fred to write that Rachel is responsible for everything. Then, Tom calls Rachel and tells her to put the phone on speaker. He forces Fred to read the letter aloud, which states, "Dear Rachel, you are a selfish and heartless person. You are responsible for Mary's death, and because of you, I will never see another sunrise in my life." Rachel pleads with Tom, asking him not to do this. Just then, a police officer arrives and points his gun at Tom. Tom uses Fred as a human shield. The officer demands that Tom surrender, but Tom sets Fred on fire and shoves him toward the officer before running away. The officer fires at Tom, hitting him, but Tom manages to escape. Fred, now burning, cries out for help. The officer does everything he can to save him. Meanwhile, Rachel screams on the call, "Please save him! Save him!" Rachel, overwhelmed with panic, starts to vomit. Just then, she receives a call from Tom. He tells her that Fred is no longer in this world and warns her to get ready because Kyle is next. Furious, Rachel yells at Tom and slams her phone down, breaking it. Afterward, Rachel and Kyle head out to the police station. On the way, Kyle asks to call his dad, but Rachel tells him she can't because Tom took her phone. At that moment, Kyle finds Rachel's tablet hidden under her seat, cleverly concealed. They realize that it must be how Tom is tracking their location. Kyle uses the tablet to check Rachel's phone's location, which Tom has taken, and discovers that Tom is right in front of them, driving their neighbor's van. Just then, Rachel spots a police van. They rush to ask the officers for help, but Tom rams the police van with his own, causing an accident and a multi-vehicle crash. Rachel has Kyle call 911 to explain the situation, but before they can finish, the tablet's battery dies. Tom starts chasing Rachel's car aggressively. Rachel and Kyle become terrified, unsure of how to escape Tom. Then, Rachel tells Kyle that they need to go to their grandma's house. When Kyle asks why, Rachel explains that grandma's house is like a maze. Anyone who goes there for the first time gets lost for a while. She insists that they can hide there and buy some time to plan their next move. By this time, Tom has closed in on Rachel's car. Seeing this, Rachel accelerates and speeds away. Tom starts chasing her just as aggressively, bumping into anyone who gets in his way. Rachel finally reaches her grandma's house and manages to deceive Tom, slipping out of his sight for a moment. She tells Kyle to hide inside and assures him that they will get through this. Kyle obeys and takes a flashlight, hiding in a secret compartment in the house. Rachel searches her car for supplies and finds a pair of candy cane scissors, which she keeps. Meanwhile, Tom continues to search for Rachel everywhere. Eventually, he spots her car. In a sudden turn, Rachel crashes into Tom with another vehicle. She gets out to check on him, but Tom grabs her and throws her to the ground. He taunts Rachel, saying she will always remember what she could do to save her child, and then he attacks her. Afterward, Tom heads into the house looking for Kyle. Kyle makes a noise, and just then, Rachel rushes to his hiding spot, but Tom follows closely behind. He yanks Rachel out of her hiding place and kicks her. Then he captures Kyle. Rachel, in a desperate move, attacks Tom from behind, but he knocks her down with a punch. Tom then takes a wire and begins to choke Kyle. Just then, Rachel finds her candy cane scissors, and gathering all her strength, she plunges them into Tom's eye. Tom still has some fight left in him, and tries to rise again, but ultimately, Rachel kills him. Just then, the police arrive on the scene. One officer approaches Rachel to inform her that they've rescued Fred. Both Rachel and Kyle are overjoyed by Fred's safety. Rachel then heads to the hospital to reunite with Fred, making sure this time that she doesn't anger anyone. So this was the end of the movie. Hope you enjoyed it, and if you did, then hit the thumbs up. Please consider subscribing to the channel. Stay tuned for more detailed explanation of movies. Thanks for watching.